What are you doing?
I'm trying to get this shit to light.
It's lit. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we start resurrecting Jack's FC. So about 2 months ago, I had Jack get all his parts from the motor that was blown up, and we brought it up to Goopy Performance. If you're in the rotary world and don't know him, look him up because he's done a lot for us. But we brought it to him. He cleaned everything, refreshed all the parts, like resurfaced them, and he took Jack's motor, Bridgeported it, and put 12mm studs in it. So now Jack's going to have a fully built Bridgeport turbo rotary motor. It should be making good power. I mean, with the turbo he has, it should be around 500. So this car won't be getting neglected any longer. Before we actually throw the motor in, we have to pull the motor that's sitting in it right now and start cleaning up some rust. So once we do that, then basically we can throw the motor in and get this car on the road for the first time in 5 years. So let's get to that, and this should be a good time. So let's go. So it's been about 2 hours, and I didn't film this because it's not that interesting, but whew, the sun's bright. We got up this mobile garage, so that's gonna be super nice for when the weather starts getting colder and let's say it rains or snows or something. We could just close this door. We could just close this door and have ourselves a warmer spot out of the weather so we can still get shit done. So like I said, we have to fix rust before we could get the motor in. There's a small spot right there, so we're going to cut that out. Jack already has the piece cut and butt welded in there so it looks seamless.
Drilling this out for the intercooler.
Alright.
But I'm gonna need you to hold this so I can mark it, so I don't make random holes like I did here.
So you're doing things the right way?
Yeah.
Alright, sounds good. For once.
On the beat.
So before I continue, there's actually some rust right here, over here. The frame rail is splitting, so we're gonna hammer that in, stitch weld that, and do the same on this side where it's splitting. So gotta clean all that down and then we can start welding it. So I cut this piece down to size, and it fits perfectly in there, just like that. I don't even have to hold it. So I'm gonna grind down some, or clean up the edges of this, and then I could tack it in and start welding. So super stoked on that, since this is my first time doing a frame repair. Now let's get to it. Can you turn it down a little? Because it doesn't look bad. It just, you can see it's sort of melting the frame rail. Alright. Can you turn it down a little more? We gotta turn it back down because that melted the shit out of it. Right there.
Oh.
What? Melted it again. Oh, yeah. Oh. Huh? Blowing right through it.
Alright. So
The top and side went smooth. Well, that one's all popcorn now. So for some reason, the first two welds went really well. And then the third one as well. You can see this one built up a little more because had higher arc and higher wire speed. This one I lowered it and it looks really good, feels much nicer. But then it just started blowing through. So yes, these are booger welds. They will all end up getting grinded down, but still so weird. This was fine, blew through a little, lowered it, this was perfect. But the rest told me to go fuck myself. So luckily it gets grinded down, but still fairly strong. You can see here where the nice weld was, and where the nice weld was, after grinding it down, it bonded really well. There's no holes or pitting, but where all the ugly spot welds or booger welds were, you can see it didn't actually penetrate as much. So too bad it didn't weld like these two good ones, so it would have been perfect the first time. So I'm gonna fill this with more weld and then grind it down again. So I finished welding the main hole that was on the frame rail in here, but now some of the seams are splitting, so we're just gonna clean up all the seam sealer and stitch weld it a little bit. Just the strut tower's back, so let's go, baby. All the seams are cleaned up. I'm gonna spray out the engine bay with some air to get all the debris out, and then we'll clean all the seams with rubbing alcohol or acetone or brake clean, anything just to get them nice and clean, so then we can start throwing the welds on. Since I last filmed, a couple things got done. Last thing you saw was I was about to stitch weld the chassis. I did that, and I fixed the big rust spots in the engine bay. And Jack went ahead and primed the whole engine bay. So as it sits right now, the whole engine bay is primed. We're gonna have to sand it down, make sure everything is smooth, and then after we can paint it. So we made good progress. If you look here, got the strut towers back, all stitch welded. We're actually gonna have to seam seal all of this prior to painting, but overall it came out pretty well. So now it's time to start prepping it for paint.
Oh yeah, that body works
again?
fucking good, bro. That body work
Oh
is
yeah,
awesome.
crest that shit.
Woo.
All right then.
Alright, I guess we're good. And then, like I said, we have to wet sand afterwards and for any imperfections.
Yep. So we got any big imperfections out of the etching primer. Just gonna paint this front end wherever there's exposed metal so it doesn't rust, and then we're gonna get regular primer, spray it, wet sand it, and then we could lay paint down. So let me throw some paint on the front, and then we go get the primer. Light coat. So we finished fixing all the rust in the engine bay. We stitch welded the strut towers back, primed it, and seam sealed it. Next time we'll be painting the engine bay and hopefully clear coating it. And I'm stoked on the color Jack chose, so you'll be seeing that next time. So till then, peace.